that folks are expressing about experiencing a disproportionate set of these locations that are serving, that are serving a positive function, but a disproportionate presence in their community.
So I'm going to defer to DHS to respond to that. I don't have anything to do with the citing of any other facility other than their own, other than to tell you that we came to DHS with 2 hotels in 2 very different high need areas. And DHS asked us to pursue this particular hotel.
Several children on your thing. You've been elevated.
Michelle.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm a student at Transfiguration School. Being at school isn't safe. A few weeks ago, there was bars in our school courtyard during our outdoor recess. Mr. Paul told us to go inside the building. During that time, my classmates were crying and praying that we will be safe. We still don't know if that will happen again. We hope that our schools and community are safe too.
Michelle, are you finished?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Elise?
Hi, my name is Elise Lam. I am 9 years old and a Transfiguration student in Chinatown. I'm going to talk about an incident that I had experienced that was very scary at my school. One day during recess, there was a strange man that was very suspicious because he was staring at us. Mr. Paul, our recess teacher, noticed the strange man and told us to go inside the gym area. We all waited for a few minutes and thought the man had left, so we went back outside. The strange man came back, and this time he opened the gate and came inside our schoolyard. Mr. Paul asked the man to get off the school property, but he refused. All of us were very frightened. Mr. Paul instructed all of us to go inside to hide. All of us were running and screaming because we were scared. We ended up locked in the same gym room where Mr. Paul barricaded the doors with chairs and tables to keep us safe, all while the strange man was outside throwing items all over our courtyard. We all heard the loud bangs outside and tried to stay quiet so he couldn't hear us. After what seemed like a turk came outside to make sure it was safe for us to come out.
My name is Sierra Johnson and I'm 12 years old, and I want to talk about the homeless shelters being built in Chinatown. In the homeless shelters, there are loose policies that allow potentially harmful items like weapons and drugs, which can be dangerous to both the homeless people and the Chinatown community. Safety is a crucial part of society, and having it is beneficial. How can we ensure that the loose policies in these shelters won't negatively affect the safety of both the homeless and Chinatown community? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Chen. I'm 17, and I'm here to talk today because of an incident that happened to me last week. I was slashed behind my neck right here, and I was slashed at Bowery. I was at night. I was walking with a few friends around Phoebe's Tavern, and I was slashed because there was girls around me. And I'll tell you, I was being very nice to this guy. He was talking to me regularly. He was like, yo, how did you pull all these girls? He was kind of catcalling them at first. And basically I told him, just, be yourself, man. Have a great day. And this guy did not look homeless. He did not look like he was on any drugs. And so I answered him, obviously, and I, gave him a regular conversation, walked away, and told him have a great day. 20 seconds later, I was slashed behind my neck with a box cutter between his 2 fingers, and he's still not caught today. How are we going to have more shelters built if we can't even control the regular people? That's my real question here. And it's been 11 days now, and he's still not caught. He's still in the streets. And it's just crazy to me because I had pictures of him. I had videos. I even had a social media. I posted all over my social media, which is a lot of followings. Like, and it's crazy that our streets here aren't safe. And it's crazy that it's even being brought up to build more, especially, you know, I'm hearing these children speak, and it's actually like crazy to me that these kids have to speak out. It shouldn't even be kids speaking at all, to be honest. They should be out in the playground, being on their phones, having fun, not speaking out on this, because that's insane to me. When I was little here in Chinatown, I was having fun. Now it's like a danger zone. When did this happen? That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That folks are expressing about experiencing a disproportionate set of these locations that are serving, that are serving a positive function, but a disproportionate presence in their community.
So I'm going to defer to DHS to respond to that. I don't have anything to do with the citing of any other facility other than their own, other than to tell you that we came to DHS with 2 hotels in 2 very different high need areas. And DHS asked us to pursue this particular hotel.
Speakers on the Grand Street Shelter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Susan Lee, and I represent the Alliance for Community Preservation and Betterment. We strongly oppose the shelter sited at 231 Grand Street, a location at a major thoroughfare, an equivalent to Times Square in Chinatown. It is 1 block away from Grand Street subway station that, with its 7 million daily commuters, is one of the city's busiest subway stations. Charles King from Housing Works said, "Do I expect major Times Square hotels to be converted? Probably not. But smaller, less well-maintained hotels outside of Manhattan are definitely less likely to come back." 231 Grand used to be the Best Western Hotel. Prior to COVID, it received over 900 4-star reviews. It is a tourist destination. My community would like to know why DHS chose 231 Grand Street if Charles King proposed 2 sites to DHS. There's an oversaturation of shelters, with 3 more in the pipeline proposed for Chinatown since March 2021. Just yesterday, Mayor Adams vowed to fix the bureaucracy that somehow left 2,500 apartments for homeless empty. We can help Mayor Adams fix the dysfunction by using tax dollars to fix the existing failings in our system rather than wasting it on new acquisition. Let us use those funds to make existing shelters safe and clean, build more needed housing for seniors, and support small businesses. We certainly understand and sympathize with the plight of the homeless. I've dedicated most of my adult life to public service, and when I ran for city council, my campaign employed several people living in homeless shelters. But this plan by DHS just seeks to shelter a community that has already shouldered so much over the years with overburden. It is just pitting one marginalized group against another, and when this happens, no one wins. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Andrea Ju. I'm a doctor. My practice is in Chinatown. My son goes to daycare, less than 1 block from 231 Grand Street. The closure of long-term psychiatric facilities and thousands of inpatient psychiatric beds in New York City in the last few years has contributed to the crisis of mental illness on the streets. The 231 Grand Street shelter sounds good on a PowerPoint presentation, but when you delve deeper, DHS and Housing Works are trying to manage unsheltered and mentally ill patients with drug addictions in a facility that is not equipped to handle them. Patients with serious mental illness and drug addiction should not be getting mental health care and services from a shelter or a drop-in center. They need licensed professionals that can provide appropriate services and treatment, not peer counselors. I did my residency at Bellevue. I worked extensively with the unsheltered and the chronically mentally ill. When these 2 conditions coexist in the same person, it can be volatile. When these patients are on their medications and have proper follow-up, the results are remarkable. But when they fall through cracks and self-medicate with street drugs, the results are dangerous and unpredictable. We have seen this scenario play out repeatedly on the streets of New York City. Innocent people have been assaulted and murdered. The mentally ill have been failed by the system. Mental health is not profitable, and that is why the system has been gutted. We are reaping what has been sown by failed past policies. We should be funding real mental health services, not just a private room to get high and laundry machines. This is not compassionate care. This is a dereliction of duty. People deserve better. In such a dense urban environment with rampant Asian hate, it is not safe to draw clients with mental illness and addiction issues into a facility with no searching for weapons or drugs and no ability to detain them should they become a danger to themselves or others. It is unreasonably dangerous to put this pilot program in this location. How many more people need to be assaulted and murdered before DHS and politicians acknowledge this?
If you are Renee N.
Okay, hi.
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I've been a physician in this community for over 25 years, and I've never seen the level of fear and anxiety in my patient population as I do now. Initially, it was due to COVID, but more recently, because of the astounding 361% increase in anti-Asian hate crimes, including murder over the past year, statistics given by NYPD. Many of my patients have already delayed potentially life-saving preventive care because they don't want to come to Chinatown and potentially get slashed or even murdered. New York City and Mr. Charles King, the CEO of Housing Works, proposed a, quote, pilot program, an experiment that they term low threshold and a harm reduction model. Basically, a low threshold because it will allow essentially almost anyone to walk in and out of the facility 24/7 without checking for illegal substances or concealed weapons. They talk about harm reduction because they plan to give clean needles. But how is this a harm reduction to the community? In fact, it's harm escalation to our community. They are performing an experiment on the backs of the people in one of the most vulnerable communities in New York City. The Chinatown community already has 6 existing shelters, with 4 being proposed. We have already our fair share of shelters. Chinatown has been officially divided into 3 community boards without consideration given to Chinatown and Little Italy as a whole. We do not need an experiment on this community, as 231 Grand Street was a temporary shelter over the past summer. There was loitering, smoking, drinking, panhandling, harassment of pedestrians, and needles and syringes lying on the street, this main thoroughfare, with a subway station 1 block away, surrounding schools, daycare centers, senior citizen centers, and business. Mr. King and the city tell us that they are helping our community with this shelter. Thanks, but no thanks. We neither want nor need this kind of help. I requested a CB2 write a resolution that reflects the desire of this community, which is in strong opposition to the shelter at 231 Grand Street. Thank you.
My name is Carrie Flaherty, and I live on Mott Street. I want to bring up the fact that I have put out 3 FOIL requests in the past 3 years to DHS, and I have not received 1 response. But I'm in good company. There's been 893 FOIL requests under DHS. And as of today, 891 of those requests are still open. Where are these homeless coming from? What district? What part of the city? Are they even from New York State? We cannot continue like this. How many more shelters? This will continue. We cannot have these policies, and we would respectfully request that you get rid of this, don't agree to this shelter. Thank you.
Ernest Lepore.
Hi, Ernest Lepore, Ferrara Bakery, 195 Grand Street, 197 Grand Street, 201 Grand Street, and 203 Grand Street. Property owner, payer of over $1 million in taxes, and resident of Grand Street. My family has been here for 130 years. Just after Lincoln, I've seen a tremendous amount and walked these streets. I've been harassed by the Bowery Mission, and what's really shocking is the overflow of homeless people and the need for revitalization for Chinatown and the Bowery because of the tenants that left. These people are going to fall, like they have and they still do, into the storefronts that can't be housed and tended to. Currently, I have to police Grand Street between Mulberry and Mott and the Italians of Mulberry Street, of homeless people walking into our business, harassing our guests, and we naturally have to handle it in an appropriate manner, had to hire security for our block. And I find it extremely prejudicial to our community of how we're being treated and dumped upon. It makes it unfortunate that a 130-year-old business, I say that not lightly, there is not many older businesses than my family's in Manhattan, and we wish to help in every which way we can. However, I request that CB2 write a resolution to reflect the desire of the community, which is in opposition to the shelter at 231 Grand Street, and we fear that we cannot walk the streets past sunset any longer. Nor will I, a 300-pound man, because I've been attacked. Thank you for your time.
So I am Pastor Austin Wu. I am a pastor at Overseas Chinese Mission, which is 2 blocks from 231 Grand Street. Our church has over 600 people every Sunday. And prior to COVID, we had over 1,200 people coming into Chinatown. I grew up in Chinatown on Mott Street and lived in Chinatown for over 35 years. My father still lives in Chinatown, and I opposed the 231 Grand Street homeless shelter that's being placed there. As we've mentioned, there are over 6 homeless shelters currently and 4 more proposed. This location is a main street for our community as people come off of Grand Street to go to work, and there's a lot of people who walk through here. During this past year, this hotel was a COVID shelter, and the surrounding area of this location was going downhill. It was deteriorating. People were loitering and asking for handouts. People were being aggressive. I pass this location every day, and as mentioned, there's 2 daycare shelters. There's 3 blocks from PS 130. Over 700 elementary school kids. The proposed shelter said they will allow drug users on site, admit level 1, level 2 sex offenders, and be open 24 hours. And this location is 1 block from where one of our Asian sisters is murdered. How is this shelter and the city going to be protecting the residents of Chinatown, many who are elderly, children, and working families? This is definitely a quality of life issue for residents of Chinatown. Chinatown needs this facility to be what it was built for. It was a hotel before COVID. The hotel helped to bring tourists into Chinatown, provided a space, for out-of-town family members to stay when they were visiting. Governor Hochul provided $220 million to grant Chinatown to revitalize its businesses and also to strengthen the economy. Chinatown needs this hotel to be a hotel, not to become a shelter. We are not opposed to shelters, but Chinatown has its fair share already. Aren't there other options other than Chinatown, whether in NoHo, Soho? So I asked the community board to write a resolution against this facility.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Wong. I live on Grand Street. You have heard before the kids, the professionals, the organization, the other representatives in that area to talk about the danger and the concern. How about me? I'm a senior. Okay, I retired, and I'm afraid to walk out in the street in daytime and especially nighttime. Every time I walk on the street, I have to turn my head right, left, back to see if any of those homeless would attack me, Asian attack, or the ones that are mentally challenged. Okay, so I don't even have the freedom to walk around. Why is my life like that? Why? Because of all these too many homeless shelters. Not that we don't want to take care of them, but actually the city should segregate the 2 types of homeless people. One are the mentally illness. They should be placed under the care with the psychiatric hospital, like the one they have, a big one in Rockland County, but they closed them all and moved them to the homeless shelter. Okay, the regular homeless people, they should be helped with programs to bring back them to get back to society, to work. They should not even mix with the one that has mental problem. It's dangerous for them too. Anyway, I just want to let you guys know that in February 26th, when I walked down in my neighborhood in 9-something, I saw the homeless set up a fire between Baxter and Center Street, right on Grand Street. I have pictures that I could show to your community board, and I have it printed out. This new shelter on Grand Street is even more dangerous with a drug injection. Okay, Chinatown used to be a safe area, but after 9/11 pandemic and the anti-Asian, we suffer a lot. Business, residential people, even in Little Italy.
Okay.
Our
Ma'am,
neighbors,
I must
they
ask
also
you to
afraid
wrap it
and
up.
complain. Okay, and with all these addicts coming down to get injection, will bring other drug dealers to our neighborhood. There will be violence. We don't know. And
Okay.
it's a shame to have the sex offender coming down to our neighborhood from different parts of the city. Okay, they should be under
Ma'am,
rehab.
I must
encouraged
interrupt
to
you.
take more.
Six is enough! Six is enough! Invest in our community! Invest in our community! Chinatown, not Sheltertown! Chinatown, not Sheltertown! Six is enough! Six
that folks are expressing about experiencing a disproportionate set of these locations that are serving, that are serving a positive function, but a disproportionate presence in their community.
So I'm going to defer to DHS to respond to that. I don't have anything to do with the citing of any other facility other than their own, other than to tell you that we came to DHS with 2 hotels in 2 very different high need areas. And DHS asked us to pursue this particular hotel.